Okay, so we've got an interview with Khaled M today. So how old were you when you started rapping?
Oh man, I've always listened to hip hop. I always used to love writing. My first actual rap I wrote when I was in the 6th grade, so I was probably about 11 years old. I still remember it, it's really bad.
What was it?
Something like, I can bust the beat, I can move my feet, and when I see the chicks they go tweet, tweet, tweet.
How things have changed.
Yeah.
What made you start rapping?
Man, I always loved it. I always just did it for fun. We used to have battles and lunch, and maybe when I turned about 18 years old, I met the manager for Both Thugs and Harmony, which was a big group in America, and he invited me to go on tour with them. And stuff was great. I toured the country at a young age, but I realized that the music industry wasn't really for me. I couldn't live the lifestyle that I wanted to live and do it. But I just started writing for other people for a number of years. And then now in the last few years, independent artists have become more powerful, and I felt comfortable that I could do music and do it the way that I wanted to do it. So I pursued it. And when you get older and you get in real life and you realize that you don't want to work a 9 to 5, you know, it helps to have a job like this.
Definitely. Tell me about your dad. He was a Libyan revolutionist.
My father, he was imprisoned in 1973 in Libya. He was tortured every day. I still remember the scars across his back. And he came from a prominent opposition family. At one point, he shared a jail cell with his father, my grandfather. He escaped after 5 years. And, you know, basically all his family was either killed or thrown in jail. His 2 brothers were killed in 1984. They're part of a group that infiltrated Bab al-Azizia, Gaddafi's compound, in an assassination attempt. Khaled, who I'm named after, Yahya, who my brother's named after. And all my other uncles basically went to jail in 1984, all 4 of them. Some of them didn't come out until 2002. So my father left Libya. He made it to Tunisia on foot. He was imprisoned in Tunisia, and eventually they sent him out to Mosul, so to Egypt. And he lived years and years while Gaddafi's goons and assassins were after him, just moving from country to country. So the first 4 years of my life were on the run. I lived in Sudan, I lived in Iraq, I lived in London, I lived in Mosul. I was born in a city called Tucson, Arizona, but we never lived there. My brother was born in Pittsburgh, we never lived there. We just kind of on the run. And we relocated to Lexington, Kentucky, which became the headquarters of the opposition movement, and my father was a big part of it.
Wow. So how did he affect your rapping? Like, obviously you told us one of your raps that you started rapping when you were 11 years old, and obviously that's changed. So how did he affect your rapping?
You know, he passed away when I was younger, when I was 9 years old, and I think just noticing the principle that he lived by. He used to write poetry as well. And I think just the life that he chose, he sacrificed a lot. It wasn't easy moving to America, not speaking English. It's not like other immigrants that go for school or for work. These people that I grew up with in Kentucky that became my family, they never ever went back to Libya. They had their parents that died, siblings that died. You know, I have a close family friend of mine in Kentucky whose mother passed away, and he called his brother to Azzi to give his condolences, and his brother went to jail for 4 years for accepting the phone call. So it was a tough life. We were very poor. There's no money in this business. So he really just taught me to live on principle and not worry about, you know, worldly gains.
Yeah, definitely. What was it like growing up in America and not being able to visit Libya?
You know, it was always a dream, like going back to Libya. We never, if you had asked us when we were young, we never would have thought that it'd be 2012 when I first visited Libya. You know, we always had this saying, "Lemon rojo," like when we returned. We always would go, "Lemon rojo," yada yada yada. We thought it was gonna be next year, the year after. It was really a bizarre childhood. I didn't realize it till now. I'm older. You know, but having fake names and having spies, people come in, you find out they're spies, they're best friends, or having people trying to kill, you know, your family members. I didn't know it was weird because when I was younger, all my friends were in the same situation. All my friends also had dads that were on the run, or you know, that wouldn't start the car when their families were in the car because their parents were. But then when I got older and I looked back, I was like, man, most people didn't have a childhood like that. It was kind of weird. But as a kid, I didn't know. It was normal. That was just the life we knew.
Yeah. What was it like visiting Libya for the first time?
Oh man, it was a trip of a lifetime. I can't even explain it. Meeting so many family members for the first time, and it's very interesting to go somewhere for the first time in your life, but for it to feel more familiar than anything you've ever seen. It was the first time in my life I felt home. I really felt home. And it was funny, you know, there was a lot of embarrassing instances too. They're filming a TV show, so I had a film crew of 7 people that came with me on the plane, and filmed with me while I was in Libya. So it was very embarrassing to meet your family for the first time and have these strangers around, you know. I went to Nilut, where my father's originally from. It's just a small village in the West, and they don't have internet, you know, they've never seen all this production. I get to the house, and everybody's standing outside, so I sit them on each person one by one. We're hugging, we're kissing, the ladies are Zahra and stuff, and you know, it's beautiful. I get done and we walk inside the house, and the director was like, "Oh, that's great. Could you guys do it one more time and close the door behind you this time?" You know, it was my first time meeting them, so it was really embarrassing. But it was an amazing trip. And I want to make the transition now.
Inshallah, we'll see it. Tell me about working with the London rapper Loki on the song "Can't Take My Freedom." How did the collaboration between you come?
You know, me and Loki had toured a little bit together, and we built a close friendship, you know, before we did any music together. And I remember telling him, like, you know, this and this is happening in Libya. It was before the media was involved, before NATO or anybody was involved. And I was like, you know, I'm gonna make a song about it, and you know, I think you'd be perfect for the song. And at first he was like, man, I don't know, he has some court, some legal issues, and he's like, I need to kind of stay clear of everything. When I showed him the song, his face just lit up. He's like, oh, I've got to be a part of this. You know, he's excited. So we were on tour, we were in Detroit. We wrote the song in Detroit, in the States, and then the next day we were in Miami, and we recorded it in Miami, and the rest is history.
Wow. What rappers would you like to work and collaborate with in the future?
Oh, man. You know, I feel like everybody, as far as rap goes, everybody that I've wanted to work with, I've worked with, you know, like Lupe Fiasco and Freeway and some of these people. You know, we've been blessed to do shows, you know, with everybody, Kanye West, we've done everybody. So as far as recording, I don't know, man, there's a lot of singers. Like, I would love to work with Lauryn Hill. I love Lauryn Hill. If I could pick anybody from the UK, I'd probably work with Adele. You know, as far as rappers, there's not really, I feel like I can rap, so I don't need a rapper on the track. I feel like I'd rather work with maybe some singers.
What rappers do you admire?
Oh, that's a great question. There's rappers that I admired growing up. You know, once you get older and you actually meet some of these people, your opinions tend to change. You know, when I was young, like the first person I ever listened to was Tupac. I used to always listen to Tupac. I used to listen to Nas and Mos Def. But, you know, now it's just, I guess I like songs. I just like anybody that's sincere in their music. I like anybody that's true, that's not willing to sacrifice their principles, that's not afraid to put themselves on there, you know? I mean, so that's what it is. I just like people that make music with a message, but that aren't preachy and in your face. You know?
What was the last protest you participated in?
Oh man.
I've seen that on YouTube, I think. There's one in Washington.
Washington? Oh, that's a lot. We've had a lot of protests since Washington. The last one that I participated in was actually in Egypt, and it was outside the Arab League, and it was for Yemen and for Syria. So it was a bunch of Syrians and Yemenis, and Khaled M, and we had a great time. It was amazing.
Wow. Are you a rebel?
Oh man. You know, I don't know if I truly understand the word rebel, you know, and what it means.
Would you rebel?
I don't go against
society's like values.
I think you know what I've learned. This is what I've learned through this whole process, you know. And there's a lot of propaganda about Libya. There's people that rebel and they support human rights. People that supported Palestine, for example, and I learned through this whole process who was being a rebel just to be a rebel and who really supports human rights. You know, some people were pro-Palestine just to be anti-West. But then if the West happens to make a right decision, they don't want to support freedom. So I think I rebel against injustice and against oppressors, but I don't rebel for the sake of rebelling.
Do you have a personal political manifesto?
Do I have a what?
A personal political manifesto, like
personal political manifesto.
Yeah.
You know what? A lot of people want to call me like a political rapper, but ironically, I don't really keep up with politics. You know, I don't vote. I'm not checking the news to see who's going to be president, who's not. You know, for me, I just want to make a connection with people on a human level. Regardless of what people's governments are doing, I just want to connect with people and try to make my impact on a social level. So that's the best answer I could probably give.
Are you working on anything right now? Like
right now we've just started the Above the Clouds tour. It's my second headlining tour. And Manchester's the second city. We're going to be going to Qatar, we're going to go all around the States and Canada, inshallah. Maybe make our way to Libya eventually. Yeah. And also recording. I still don't have an album yet. You know, the CDs that we sell at shows are just got some old songs and some new songs. It's just a sampler for people to have something to remember me by. But that's by no means an album. You know, I want my album to be top notch quality. So we're in the process of recording that, touring, and just expanding the brand.
What would you say your favourite lyric from a rap is?
Oh man.
Either your own or someone else's.
Take a soul.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's an amazing question. I wish I had time to think about that one. I don't know. You know, I'll tell you one that I didn't perform this song tonight. The sound wasn't bad, but it's crazy. I had a show in Chicago 2 or 3 nights ago, and I have this lyric. You guys know who Biggie Smalls is?
Yeah.
Okay. So he got shot and died. His biggest song was a song called "Sky Is the Limit." So the whole song is basically about me traveling a lot, not really seeing my friends, and embracing life and being confident, but knowing it can all be taken away from you. So I performed that song in Chicago 2 nights ago, and there's a lyric that says, "Biggie told me that the sky is the limit. He showed me you can die any minute." And subhanAllah, that night, this is just a few days ago, I got shot at in Chicago. Alhamdulillah, the bullet missed, but it was really a good reminder. I was really on a high. It was an amazing show, sold out. You know, TV shows are there, documentaries there. And that same night, you know, I got shot at and could have easily passed away. So I think I like that lyric.
I think that's it. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.